Good evening, Mr. Immigrant. I'd like you to take a look at this map of the world and consider how it once looked. Look at North America, it was all British, and down here, much of the Caribbean British, bits of South America British. Over in Africa, we had half of Africa was British. And then, of course, the Indian subcontinent, as I'm sure you're aware, was ruled by the British and has never been ruled so well since. And then again, of course, Australasia is British, and then the little tiny outposts like the Polynesia and of course the Falkland Islands, still British.
Yes, I know, but how do you explain so many millions of people coming into Europe today?
Well, they've mucked up their own countries and now they want to benefit from our efforts, basically.
But why is it okay for nearly 1 billion Europeans to live in North America, South America, Southern Africa, Siberia, Australasia, in search of a better life? Economic migrants over the last 300-400 years, in their millions they've been emigrating. And why is it okay for them to do so, but not for poor Africans and Asians to come into Europe?
Well, I think the essential difference is, as you pointed out, is that European migrants went to these countries and built them up from nothing. They built rich, prosperous countries all around here. And in Africa...
Through slave labour?
Well, possibly they used a few tools to enhance the speed at which they progressed.
And wiping out most of the natives?
Well, that may have been the fault of the Americans who dissociated themselves from the British and then continued to act like the cads they were, I'm afraid.
Yes.
But the problem was, is Africa, even with independence, which they were so keen on, they failed to develop their countries, and now they wish to benefit from our efforts.
So what's the solution?
Well, I think the solution will have to be virtually the re-colonisation of the old empire. They will have to administer these countries by the British, who you can at least administer them fairly and not be totally corrupt like present administration in many of these countries.
Well, it would have to be a multicultural British Empire.
Multicultural in the sense that we'll allow the Welsh and the Scots to participate.
Immigrants like me?
Yes, well, I think...
As you did in the old days, you know, divide and rule with the different grades of
if you're up to the job of administrating in Bombay or whatever you call it nowadays, well, I think that would be acceptable to have you as part of the administrative system.
India and China will be the next two biggest economies in the world in the next 20-30 years.
Yes.
There could be many millions of Europeans trying to get into India.
Yeah, I don't think so somehow. I don't think people wish to work at the miserable wages being paid in India and China. At the moment, I think people find it much more preferable to emigrate into Europe than India and China.
So, rebirth...
I don't think you'll find a mass rush of Africans going to India and China to find work.
So you want to reborn the British Empire to stop economic migration into Europe. That's a solution.
That is a solution.